So we got Greg Blake here, special honor to put a few questions to him about bluegrass. Hi, Greg.
Hi, Anders. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine.
It's
Yes.
good to see you again.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
When was that? 2000 or 2016 or
2016, I believe it was. Yeah.
North Carolina.
Yes, that's right. That was our first encounter, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Jeff Scroggins in Colorado.
Right. Yeah. And then a visit over to Sweden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Grönland Festival.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So
very cool.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful you took your time to do this.
Oh, I'm honored that you'd ask me. Thank you.
So what got you started in bluegrass? Do you have like special memory where you got hooked on music, or?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've been singing ever since my earliest memories of my existence. I've been singing since I was a wee lad, and I grew up in my grandparents' home. And although they were not musicians, they were avid country music fans and listened to a lot of country music. And by that, I'd call that classic country music, because I was born in the mid '60s, and so they had record collections from even years beyond that. So a lot of the greats: Patsy Cline, Johnny Cash, Charlie Pride, Lefty Frizzell, George Jones, Merle Haggard. And the list goes on and on and on. So I found myself singing to those records, and I asked for my first guitar when I was 7, so that I could accompany myself singing. And so that's kind of the beginning. But then I had some friends in school that introduced me to bluegrass, and I liked the upbeat, the drive, and kind of like almost the rawness of it, compared to the country music I was listening to. But I've over the years I've found myself kind of melding the two, because I love the vocals of the country music, but I love the drive and the intensity of the bluegrass. So I've tried to combine the best of both worlds, so to speak, in what I do.
So do you think that country music has a little bit more emotion into the singing than bluegrass has, or?
Well, I think both of them can have emotion, and I've definitely heard it, both of them, that didn't have very much emotion. But I love the intensity of the emotion in the singing in either genre, and I've always said that there's a lot of great singers out there who may have good technique, and scientifically they may be doing everything right, but somehow it just doesn't have the heart. And so that's the singer that I want to listen to, and that's the singer that I want to be as well.
Someday soon I'm gonna travel back to the land that I love best. In the stillness of the mountains I will find sweet peace and rest. On some pine I can hear you calling me back to my home.
Where the fox and panther and the awesome man,
lonesome pine calling me home.
So those early years listening to country and very good singers, is that part of what made your view on the bluegrass music, or do you have other thoughts around the music?
No, I think so. I was introduced over time to a lot of great singers within bluegrass too. Mac Wiseman, Lester Flatt, Charlie Moore, Charlie Waller, Tony Rice, John Starling. A lot of great singers. I could go on and on. Bobby Osborne, who we just recently lost, of course. Um, there's been a lot of great singers. And then, of course, bluegrass has also been known for its kind of, raw and rough singers too, that weren't quite as polished as others. And that's okay. That's kind of in the DNA of bluegrass anyway. So, we still enjoy it, but I definitely enjoy the better, finer, smoother singers within bluegrass these days.
Cool. So, do you see any kind of new trend or new direction in bluegrass in recent years, or is it still the same, you think, or?
Well, from my study of bluegrass, both unofficially and officially,
Mhm.
um, I've always seen bluegrass started out. It was all about the song, and if it was all about the song, it was all about the lyrics and the words, and so not so much the music was just there to serve the song. Um, in the last 20, 30 years, I've noticed this emergence of like incredible technical instrumentalists. And, and so that's really increased that side of the
Mm.
music, the instrumentality. And so there's kind of been more balance brought to that. And maybe even today, maybe even a larger emphasis on that because like I spent some time in Colorado
Mhm.
and there's a huge bluegrass music scene there in Colorado and it kind of evolved into, I guess they're using the term like jam grass these days, and so again it's the instrumentality and instrumentation has been emphasized more than the vocal.
Mm.
And if I see any trends, that's probably a trend that I'm seeing these days. That there's a lot more finesse
Mm.
and technicality in the instrumentation today, as opposed to in the early days of bluegrass. And I guess I am old enough now to where I can say that I've seen
Yeah.
I've seen the change.
But there are also, I mean, educations in bluegrass nowadays. You have bluegrass universities. I guess that would also play into that change,
Yes,
maybe. Yeah.
yes, I think so. I think so indeed. And then just these, these virtuosic musicians who have arisen. And then it's been a great experience of mine to travel from the U.S. overseas and to see the passion that a lot of non-U.S. Persons have taken to the music, and they're so dedicated to learning and mastering their instrument. Maybe that's part of the European DNA.
Yeah.
With music. I mean, they've always been so serious about mastering
Hmm.
their instrument, and the bluegrass players that I've come to know, you're one of them, and several others that I mean you're so intense um, on just being so good at your craft, and my hat's off to you.
I think we always feel that we are so much behind you. You were there, but yeah. So, well, do you see any difference in the people and in the culture, the jam culture, perhaps from Europe to United States? Is there?
That's an interesting question, because you see a couple of you see the jam culture taking a couple different forms in the States. And the States is becoming a lot more open recently, where it's become more welcoming. It used to be that the jam circles were kind of closed off, and the jammers were really intense about the actual music they were making, and so sometimes maybe someone who wasn't as skilled um, would kind of be discouraged from joining
Yeah.
the circle. But nowadays, it seems like the circle is opening and widening and broadening, and a lot of people are being, welcomed in at all levels. And so it's seen more, not so much for the music that's being created within the jam circle, but just the community and the camaraderie, and the friendship and the fellowship that brings. And and I've always noticed that the bluegrass culture, the people of bluegrass, both in the States as well as abroad, are people who are very warm, friendly, approachable, accommodating, and and not to be stereotypical, but sometimes you don't see that in other musical genres. I mean, one of the things that impressed me so much is one of the very first jam sessions I went to that was in a festival. There was a band that I wanted to go see, and then when they got finished, they had more like local amateur groups, and the quality of the music, of course, was a lot less. So I kind of wandered away from the stage show, wandered into the festival grounds, the camping grounds, to listen to the jam sessions. And sure enough, I saw one of the professionals who I just finished, watching on stage perform. They were down and with the common people, so to speak. And in between songs, I saw him like giving instruction to a young, starting musician. And right then and there, I said to myself, I'd never see this at a rock concert. I wouldn't see it at a country music concert or festival. I'm only going to see this here, and that approachability of even the professionals. So
yeah, that was something that really struck us. I think when we met you with Jeff Scroggins in Colorado, and also now yesterday with Special Consensus, that the professionals actually went out directly after they'd been on stage, directly out to a jam with our deadly people.
Well, it's I think it's just it's just not only part of who we are and our personalities, but even from a business sense, it just makes it's good logic, it's good business sense that the crowd at a bluegrass concert or a bluegrass festival, that is our bread and butter. I mean, we may say that the promoter is the one who signs our paycheck, but it's those people in the seats that are really helping us. So it's a reciprocal type thing. We hope that we're bringing a little bit of joy in our playing and our performance, but we realize that we're really serving them, and we're their servants. We're not idols and celebrities, but we're public servants.
So talking about being professional, so how is a week or a month for a professional bluegrass musician in the United States?
Well, it's a lot of hard work, and people don't realize it. I think they see us up on stage, and we're having a good time, and we're playing music, and if they play, they know what kind of how fun it is to play. So sometimes I think they get the impression that we're just out kind of traveling around, having fun, and drinking and carousing and playing some music, and that's it. But no, there's a lot of hard work that goes. There's a lot of desk work. There's a lot of phone calls, emails, texts, booking the gigs, making sure that all of the logistics are good in travel and lodging and food and everything that goes on. And then there's the actual getting to the gig and traveling. One of the kind of funny things that's said about a professional musician, but it's very true, is that we travel for a living and we play for fun. And so so that's the traveling and all that other stuff it really is the work part. And it is a job, and it's a hard job. And I remember there was here just recently, my fiance went with me on a short trip, about like 5 days, and she told me halfway into the trip and at the end of the trip, she says, "Honey, I don't see how you do this. I'm worn out." And so, you know, and I think if other people would get that experience, if they just go along with us, you know, for a week or so, they'd realize that it's hard work, and it's very taxing physically, emotionally.
You're never home.
Yes, you're never home, and so, and that's another thing. I mean, you have to have an understanding family companion to allow you to do this kind of work, and it's a commitment that they make, that they're not going to be with you as much as the other person who has the regular desk job or a factory job or you know, or whatever.
So do you have any advice for a young band and want to make it?
Well,
Music.
there's a very small handful of what I'd call overnight successes. It usually comes from, you know, the old phrase is, you know, paying your dues, and that is, you know, you got to take some of the lower gigs and kind of get, you know, your experience built up before you can begin expecting some of those more premier limelight type gigs and appearances. And you just the old adage of working hard and working smart too. Know that, again, like we said earlier, that audience. I mean, you're serving them. You're not really some kind of elite prima donna celebrity idol, but you're really serving those people. And if you can, you know, begin with and maintain that type of attitude towards your audience, it will fare well for you in the long run. And, you know, just work hard. If you're a beginning band, do as much as you can, play as much as you can, get in front of as many people as you can. You know, don't knock yourself down if you don't get that big gig that you've been trying to get. It'll come. It'll come eventually. And never, ever slack up on the quality of your music that you're performing. You know, because there's a lot of times you could take shortcuts and maybe, you know, try some marketing scheme or publicity. But and I'm not saying don't do any of that. Do as much of that as you can. But my grandmother had a little saying that I remember to this day, and she would say, "The proof is in the pudding." And so, in other words, I mean, really, when it comes down to it, it's all about the quality of the product that you produce. And so but that's true not only in music, but that's true in any other form of business or life. Make sure that the quality of your product, you're always improving, and be critical of yourself. Always examine what you're doing. Don't ever get to that plateau where you feel like you've arrived. Always strive to do better.
Yeah, I'm 60 years now. I still haven't felt that I've arrived. I feel the time is getting shorter and shorter to arrive.
I'm right there with you, and so you know, and I'm always improving. My practice regimen isn't what it used to be, but I always want to try to do something better. I'm always, you know, thinking about, looking for, experimenting with different ways to play something on the guitar, maybe a different rhythmic pattern or something like that. I mean, maybe a different solo line, and singing as well, different phrasing, different ways to attack a song, different portions to emphasize in the lyrics and things like that. So I'm always looking for, is there some way that I can do it better? you know. And if there's no other way for me to do it better, just keep on getting the best way. Just keep on shining and polishing it.
It's been so long since I left the cabin in such a wealth, fortune, and fame. Late at night when I'm lone and lonely, I still hear my daddy call my name. Lonesome Pine, I can hear you calling me back to my home, where the fox and hound really all roaming.
Do you have any? We're gonna wrap this up, but do you have any special anecdote or fun thing that happened that's a special memory to you in your musical life?
Oh my! There's been so many, so many. I would just have to come back to some of the, some of the places that I've traveled abroad, and just the people that I've met. And in general, I would say this: not to necessarily disparage my home country folks, but it seems like in the U.S. there's such an abundance of the music that the familiarity with it seems to breed kind of a nonchalant attitude towards it, and that they could they could kind of take it or leave it because there's so much available to them. But when I've traveled abroad overseas to Europe, to Australia, and other portions of the world, there has been such a warm reception and such an appreciation for bringing the music to them that it's staggering, and it's so complimentary to the musician. And I know I've cherished that, and some of the friends that I've made overseas, present company included. Some of my closest and dearest friends, and I cherish, our friendship, and look forward to all the times I can come back and visit.
Come back. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hope to see you back soon.
Yeah, hope to be back.
Babe, just take it easy.